I'm 77 now, and I'm very blessed to have 4 children and their spouses that are all very happily married and all have proven their abilities to run a ranch. And we think now is the time, while everybody's in good health and doing well, it'd be a good time to save some taxes and divide this ranch, and we've let the children do the dividing.
We've seen too many of our friends that have had to sell the family ranch, or a big part of it, to pay the inheritance tax. And to me, that's just not right. And thankfully, we've got legislators and leaders that are fighting to change that. And hopefully they will continue to get it changed so that families can keep ranches in the business.
Welcome to The American Rancher. I'm Pam Minnick. We've got a great show for you today featuring the century-age R.A. Brown Ranch outside Throckmorton, Texas. Each October, the Brown family hosts their annual bull and female sale, which offers cattlemen from across the nation a superb Angus, Red Angus, and Sim Angus seed stock selection. And it'll be great again this year as that time draws closer. On today's show, we're going to visit with the Brown family about the subject of generational transfer. This is a matter that concerns many ranching families, and one that the R.A. Brown Ranch will be handling themselves soon. We invite you to stay tuned as we explore keeping it in the family and see again the R.A. Brown Ranch in Texas. This is The American Rancher. Stay tuned. Welcome back to The American Rancher. Founded in 1895, the R.A. Brown Ranch has been raising seed stock cattle for some 5 generations. Today, we'll visit with the Brown family about their outstanding genetics and their upcoming generational transfer of the ranch.
Roots run deep in ranching country, and there's been a lot of blood, sweat, and tears made by people in our family and the wonderful team of people we've had the opportunity to work with on R.A. Brown Ranch over the past 4.5 generations. Chills kind of run up and down my back when I think about dispersing this entire cow herd. It's not the end of the book. It's the end of the chapter, and a new chapter is beginning as the 5th generation of the Brown family go forth. And as Mom and Dad said, while they're in good health, they want to go and watch their children go and use their God-given abilities and our different interests to go and do what we feel called to do.
We're just very fortunate to have some kids that really love one another and work together, and I think tax-wise it'd be a smart move to make. We have about 30,000 acres that we're dividing up here in one ranch in Colorado.
The historic R.A. Brown Ranch is having a complete and total dispersal of their entire cow herd at the ranch in Throckmorton, Texas. Since 1895, this progressive family business has been producing some of the most superior cattle and quarter horses in the industry. They have also been a leader in successfully keeping the ranch in the family through 5 generations. This year, Rob and Peggy decided to pass the ranch on to their 4 children, Betsy and Jody Bella, Rob A. and Tally Brown, Mary Ann and Todd McCartney, and Donald and Kelly Brown. Each of them plans to operate their portion of the ranch and continue the legacy.
All of us love the land. We plan to continue ranching on this very land that our ancestors have worked so hard to keep in the family. And we're each going to take our part and move forward with our families. Some with commercial cattle, and Kelly and I with registered cattle. But we are excited about continuing on the legacy of the R.A. Brown family.
We're very, very pleased with our plan. It's not easy. It's not an easy decision to make, but I think it's the right decision to make. And when you've got 4 children that are as capable as these are, and their spouses, and they're all talented and know how to run a ranch, and they have, like I said, 17 grandchildren, and a lot of them are learning the ranch growing up here, and working with their families. It makes a lot of difference. And going on to college, some major in ag school deals, but it's not, they've learned the ranching end of it pretty well here growing up.
As a freshman in high school, I remember my parents sitting me down and said, all right, in 4 years, you're going to graduate from high school and you can go do anything you want to do. And if you want to come back, you can come back one of two ways. You can come back as an employee of the ranch, or you can come back with a business plan for an expansion of the family business so that there's a bigger pie to feed another family. And so that's what each of us have done is we've come back to we all went off, got a college education, and came back home to the family ranch and expanded the business and expanded it through joint ventures with Mom and Dad. So they taught us, but they also taught us to put sweat equity into the game.
Rob has been a great leader in the ranching industry. He is also a true visionary, as documented by his accumulation of many honors. He and Peggy, his wife of 56 years, true to their progressive and practical approach to matters, started a successful family succession plan over 30 years ago. As each child came back to the ranch, the Brown family diversified and vertically integrated itself into all segments of the cattle business, with registered cattle, commercial cow-calf, stocker cattle, wheat farming and grazing, and the cattle feeding business.
We just felt like that having a family as loving and close as they are to one another, that we could do this and not have a hullabaloo getting it done. And I don't think there's been a crossword. And like I said, the children have done most of it. And we feel like that tax-wise, it's a good thing to do instead of waiting until I'm gone and then how much do we keep Peg in it and all. It's a circumstance not everybody has, and not everybody's got the family closeness that we have to be able to do it.
In the mid-'80s, my parents, under the advisement of some wise financial counselors, said, you know, as you look at estate planning, it's going to be smart if you go ahead and pass some of the ownership of this ranch on to your children. And so Mom and Dad did that about 30 years ago. Even though Mom and Dad still called all the shots, he was still president of the company, but from an estate planning tool, passed on ownership of the land, majority of it to each of us kids. And with that, you know, thankfully, Mom and Dad are still in good health. But if something had happened to them, we would have probably had to sell half the ranch just to pay the taxes. Doing estate planning and passing on your family ranch ownership to your children while you're still alive. All right, I don't know if that's the right way to do it, but so far, best I can tell, it's a great way to do it.
We know of a lot of people that have had bad experiences when it passed to the next generation. And like I said, the ones that can do it in this fashion, I think would be happier and all. And it's not an easy decision, but I feel very comfortable with it.
When Rob decided that it was time to hand the reins of the family business to the next generation, his first thought was that he would divide the ranch and assets 4 ways and decide who got what. But Peggy had a better idea. She said, let's step back out of the way and let the kids figure out who gets what. It's going to be theirs anyway. This is what has happened, and over the past few months, the kids have met on a monthly basis.
As I've thought back through this process of generational transfer and Mom and Dad saddling us with the responsibility of dividing up the ranch, what came to mind time and time again was how Mom had instilled in us 1 Corinthians chapter 13, verse 13. And it says, and these 3 things remain: faith, hope, and love. And the greatest of these is love. And it's with that verse that as my siblings and I have met each month over the past several months to go through this generational transfer, that we've divided this ranch up and look forward to moving forward each in our own direction as we continue on the legacy of the R.A. Brown Ranch family.
The R.A. Brown Ranch 39th Annual Bull Sale comes to you this October from the ranch in Throckmorton, Texas. In addition to more than 600 Angus, Red Angus, and Sim-Angus bulls, the R.A. Brown family will also disperse their entire herd of registered females and quarter horses on October 9th through the 11th.
Well, I'm very confident that all eight children and spouses have got the capability, and I think I'll be able to be on hand if they have any questions and help them in any way I can. And I think we'll have a lot of pride in watching them take it and see what they do with it, and we're confident that they'll do the right things.
The R.A. Brown Ranch remains a full-service, very experienced operation. The family is taking the ranch through ownership transition at this time and is poised for a bright future. Each October, the R.A. Brown Ranch has a fantastic bull and female sale that draws stockmen from everywhere, and it'll be another great offering this year. When we come back, we'll continue our story and meet cattlemen that use the R.A. Brown Ranch genetics. This is The American Rancher. Stay with us. Welcome back to The American Rancher. The R.A. Brown Ranch has a colorful history. Through the years, the family has been innovative and progressive. The ranch has outstanding Red Angus and Angus bloodlines. They've also developed very good composite Sim-Angus and Hotlander cattle as well. It's a brand that cattlemen know and trust.
We buy all of our bulls from the R.A. Brown Ranch, and the reason we like to do that is because we believe that they have put years and years of research and development into their bulls, and we know what we're going to get.
I've known Donald for a while now. We've bought cattle or bulls from them, and they have an excellent bull program. I called him up one day and I said, how about you sending me some bulls that I need, some heifer bulls with low birth weights and that I can run on my heifers. And he said, we can do this program if you'd like. I'll pick them out and pick low birth weight bulls and send them to you. If they do not work in any way, if you do not like them, he said, I'll take them back. And he sent me some excellent bulls, and I'll do it again any day.
The R.A. Brown Ranch 39th Annual Bull Sale comes to you this October from the ranch in Throckmorton, Texas. Very rarely do you find a family with 118 years and 5 generations of registered cattle breeding experience. It's rarer still to have the opportunity to buy any female you want from the heart of such a program.
It's going to be a good offering. There isn't any question. Donald and Kelly have done an outstanding job, and it's the newest technologies are being used, and I'm just awful proud of where we are and what we've done in the seed stock industry over all these years.
With the transfer of ranch and farmland and assets to the next generation, what follows is the reality of the estate tax, also more keenly known as the death tax in ranching circles. The estate tax dates back to 1916, when then-President Woodrow Wilson imposed the tax of 1 to 10% on the wealthy because World War I reduced federal government revenues. Nowadays, it's virtually impossible to keep ranches intact when the estate or death tax is levied against the next generation owners. With the cost of ranch land and the amount of tax derived from its assessed value, it is not a reach to say that the next generation has to repurchase the ranch just to keep it.
Today in Throckmorton County, it costs $30,000 to buy the land to run one cow. My great-great-grandfather bought the land that we started this ranch on. And my great-grandfather bought the land that we're sitting on today. My grandfather, bought a little more land around it as we've continued to grow, as the family has grown. but we bought it. And we've paid property taxes, we've paid income taxes, we've paid sales taxes, we've paid taxes on this. And so to have a major death tax, to pass it from one generation to the next, just doesn't seem right.
It's just not fair to put a high tax on something that you took a lifetime to build. And like I said, the land values are so high now that the tax that would be on this land value, it'd just take you out of business.
In Washington, the National Cattlemen's Beef Association is doing its part in maintaining a voice for ranchers on many issues, including the estate or death tax.
Well, when you start looking at families that want to pass their farm or operation down to the next generation, and I think when you look at taxes, especially like the death tax, that has even been something attributed by the U.S. Department of Agriculture to be one of the single most factors to break up the family farms when those are passed down. And NCBA, we have members across every state in the country, and I work with quite a few of them who've shared personal stories about having to sell off large sections or parts of their family cattle operations in order to pay for a tax and has been paid for multiple generations or decades previously. So I do think that it's important that we make sure that we make it as easily as possible from a federal policy standpoint to allow the grandparents and the parents to pass their farms and ranches down to their children and their grandchildren.
Right now we have an exemption of $5 million per person or $10 million per couple, where anything at that rate or below, or that level or below, is exempt from the death tax. A good thing about those levels is that they are also tied to inflation. So they will grow over time as inflationary pressures hit all of us across the country.
Randy Negebauer is a Republican congressman serving the 19th District of Texas. He knows the estate tax is quite an issue with his constituents.
And one of the most egregious taxes that we have is the estate tax, or as I call it, the death tax. And what's so unfair about that is that over the years we've had people that put together land for farms or land for ranches, or even people that have built small businesses that are an important part of our economy, an important part of our country. And then when one generation wants to pass what they've accomplished on to the next generation, sometimes we force those people to have to sell those farms or sell those ranches or have to go borrow a bunch of money to pay the taxes upon the death of one of the family members. You know what? And that's just not fair. Because what a lot of people don't realize is the taxes were paid, as those businesses and farms and ranches were being built. So there's a lot of discussion now going on in Washington right now about tax reform, and that subject will come up again. What I'm hopeful is if we're going to talk seriously about tax reform in this country, that we'll be talking about really permanently eliminating the death tax.
The current rate of the estate tax is permanently set at a $5 million exemption level, double for a couple, indexed for inflation, and the tax rate for above that exemption is 45%.
Full repeal of the death tax is still the #1 priority for NCBA when it comes to this issue. We are not going to stop at the $5 and $10 million exemptions that we have right now. Our position is if anybody in agriculture is paying the death tax, then that is one too many. So we will continue to push for full repeal. Now, here we are in the middle of 2013, and we do have legislation in both the House and in the Senate that is set up to repeal the death tax. The question is, will we actually get any sort of action on that legislation?
In June of 2013, Senator John Thune, Republican South Dakota, and Representative Kevin Brady, Republican Texas, reintroduced legislation to permanently repeal the federal estate tax.
The death tax affects every ranching family in America. It's time to talk to our congressmen and talk to our elected officials and leaders to make a difference. And let's put a death to the death tax.
Many ranching families have, and all others should really focus on doing estate planning. On the whole, ranchers do not fit the profile of individuals that some congressmen feel are accumulating excessive fortunes.
We have a mix of reaction up on Capitol Hill when it comes to the death tax. We have many who are very sympathetic with our position, and they agree that the death tax needs to go away. That is why Congress after Congress, we have seen the introduction of bills to fully repeal the death tax. So there are a lot of members up there, especially members who are farmers and ranchers, who understand the impact that the death tax has on farming and ranching families. However, there are a lot of members up on Capitol Hill that see this as just another opportunity to take money and use it to fund the federal government.
Our families bought this ranch with hard-earned money and borrowed money, and we've worked for it to continue to get it paid for and to take care of it, and we think it'd be right to keep it in the family so we can keep taking care of it and keep taking care of business, keep feeding the world.
Each October, the R.A. Brown Ranch has a fantastic bull and female sale that draws stockmen from everywhere, and it'll be another great offering this year. The R.A. Brown Ranch 39th Annual Bull Sale comes to you this October from the ranch in Throckmorton, Texas. In addition to more than 600 Angus, Red Angus, and Sim-Angus bulls, the R.A. Brown family will also disperse their entire herd of registered females and quarter horses on October 9th through the 11th.
We have loved seed stock cattle. We know that breeding cattle for the commercial industry is what it's really all about. Selling this complete dispersal herd is not going to be easy, but we're going to be able to share it with a lot of people from all over the country. We're proud of it.